Yes.
Gotta be a little careful with some of those nades, because even in the timeout, they keep rolling. I mean, we saw a hilarious video. Oh! Ooh, he just does a drive-by! He didn't even stop. He shot him through the door. My God.
Whoa!
Get about rolling nades. That headshot from the scout is way more of a concern.
That was so sick. And, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Vitality. That was the meme on Vertigo. Where they dropped it, and it's like watching the smoke roll off the side of the building.
I mean, so obviously that's not going to happen on Dust 2, right? But it can still roll quite far away from spawn if you're unlucky, and maybe you don't want that. Like you said, coming back to it. Lucky here, close with the deagle. Missed the timing just a bit, and he's on his own. There's no one there to return that kill. Glaive, easy find. One click on forZe. And that actually locks them into the map now. They have to go for this. They can't really backtrack across the map. So Astralis have a bit of at least an informational advantage in this play. They don't have the weapons quite, but Glaive is stolen that AK-47, and he's just running through T-spawn, trying to get here ASAP. Blackie with 2 great kills. That kills the flank for Glaive so much. He needed his teammates to be alive for that AK to have any say. He should stop running. There's no point in going for this. Save the AK and let him have this round.
He wants to give Lackey the ace.
Don't do it.
He wants to give Lackey the ace? Lackey's got a chance?
You might be right. Why is he doing this? I don't feel like this is even close to worth it. A shot from Glaive? But yeah, he's going to walk into Crad with that AWP. So, fair enough. He at least got the 1 kill. I know they can buy in this round, but I still think that AK, you could have given that over to dupreeh. He would have had a lot more money to work with in the future. I think there's almost no way. He didn't have a kit either, I think, so to win that 1 versus 3, highly unlikely.
Especially if you're going to count on dupreeh to be that B-side anchor. Give him all the firepower he can get right now. He's only got 2 kills, though, dupreeh. So, again, a lot of eyes on dupreeh and Magus to be the heavy hitters here for the team in these matches. They need to carry the weight. And so dupreeh, B-side, sometimes it really is hit or miss. Either it works or it doesn't. But now we're going to see another tactical timeout getting called here by Astralis going into this pivotal round. This is now time for them to start to get things rolling here on the CT side. We've seen since the change that it shifted ever so slightly more towards the CT side in terms of advantage in the half. So if Astralis are trailing already 5-1, they need to start getting in gear here, Anders. They need to start doing some damage.
Yeah, I think now is about the time where, like I said just a couple of rounds ago, I don't think they should be panicked because it's still pretty early on. But if you lose this round and it's 6-1 and it's another buy round, ooh, nice shot. Ilian taking down Lucky. He just saw that coming. But again, you could tell how much more Astralis are willing to try and fight. They're also pushing upper dark into lower. They've actually cleared this entire side of the map. Ilian, though, he knows that smoke is a dead giveaway, that they've lost this part of the map. And the question is, in a 4-on-5, do you just want to go long? Actually, a lot of teams do that because either you just go long like you started, you just commit to this play, or you have to backtrack and check every part of the map as you go back, and that's usually not a good idea either. So, I don't really like this position for the T side, although a lot of teams find themselves in it. You just watch a lot of Dust 2, you see this happening pretty often, actually.
Oh. This is where I wonder if they got cold feet or not, Entropiq, if they tried to slow it down, not realizing that that push was happening. But now Glaive is going to get the freebie on Elion, and it's just going to shape up so nicely here for the defense. Astralis is going to be able to drop those nades on the bomb sites. Lackey looking to open it up. He's going to get 1 and a second.
Great handling of that AK. Just absolutely aware that one of them was flashed. He went for the second player up on the catwalk first. That works out so well. Now it's a 2-1-3. Magus setting up. Molotov, does it actually land in the corner? You can throw it there, but it's not always that easy. And it's not going to matter. He forced him out, sure, but forZe was there to help out his mate, and he's going to get a double kill of his own. 6-1. Astralis, they had the AWP in the right place. They had all the information. They knew what was coming to the A-bomb site, and they still could not defend it against Entropiq.
Yeah, the fact that dupreeh is even able to get a kill over, they rotated the extra guys over once they cleared out lower and upper halls, Astralis. They just rotated those extra bodies over towards A. They knew where Entropiq were. That's why I was criticizing Entropiq, saying that they may be going too slow in this situation and that they should get smashed by Astralis, and yet, comes down to it, Astralis cannot connect the shots. Glaive was cowering on the bomb site, not really looking to take a fight, and Lackey just ripped his head off.
And I think he was flashed for the first like 2 or 3 seconds even of that. It was really some good grenades coming in from Entropiq. I mean, that's worth pointing out too.
This could just be one of those picks here for Entropiq where, again, Astralis may not be as comfortable on it given the fact that Glaive has been sitting out waiting on, well, congratulations, his first child, of course, but like not able to put as much work in perhaps. Whereas Entropiq, you know, full 5-man roster, they could just be ready on Dust2, dialed in, knowing exactly what they want to do.
And I mean, you're right, and it makes a huge difference whether or not you're playing best of ones or best of threes, right? Because it's entirely possible that pushed into a best of three scenario, Entropiq don't have the map depth to try and actually fight on 3 maps like this, but best of ones, it is just a different feel. Glaive has got a single kill in this round so far, and maybe that's a start. Nice grenade on leikkeet. Ooh, and forZe almost getting himself killed. This could make it a 1 versus 2, in fact, but reloading around the corner, you don't want to be doing that. Orbis on the other side. And that bomb is planted as well. So dupreeh's out looking, trying to see if he could find anything. Glaive is hanging around as well, up on the catwalk. But forZe, they're just going to leave him be. Glaive back around the corner. He can't really go for a defuse here for 10 seconds against the AWP down here. It's such a powerful position. And ilian going to be doing a fine job. forZe is short up as well. That could have been a very, very sketchy round for Entropiq, but they handled it just fine once they realized what was going on. And they're going to be getting a 7th round to the one of Astralis.
It's just, sometimes you're going to get that lucky break, Anders. Sometimes you're going to survive with 3 health, and that's just going to save the round.
Yeah.
You know, if he dies there, that's it. You're going to get crunched if you're out, and you're going to get scissored on. You're not really going to be able to stay alive at long because you can get pinched from the bomb site and from Longhouse. But the fact that forZe stays alive there, 3 health is what makes all of the difference. Him staying alive just throws everything out of whack for Astralis in that retake.
leikkeet has been playing an absolutely incredible game so far. He's 13-5. He's had, I think, a double kill at least every time they show up to the A bomb site. That is, I mean, even that alone is probably a good reason to keep going A if you really want to. You can justify it because you've got this one guy that's just a battering ram knocking down Astralis every single time. So that is impressive. At this level, again, the pressure is... It looks like Entropiq are cruising through the first part of this half here. Trust me, this is some high-tension gaming coming out because if they slip up, they could let Astralis back in the game. They know what's on the line here. It looks like they're having a bit of a free ride right now, but I don't think it feels that way at all if you're on the T side. Magisk in the corner, no one's checked it. It's not going to be a multi-spray down, but there is a team kill in the middle of that. leikkeet taking down forZe and Glaive to follow it up. I guess that technically counts as a multi-kill. 2 versus 3 now. leikkeet and ilian left alive here and trying to see if they can recover it, but dupreeh, that is a critical kill to take down leikkeet. They finally bring him down, and it's going to be a 2nd round for Astralis, finally.
And talk about guys staying alive once again. forZe in the last round. This time it was dupreeh dropping that smoke immediately as soon as that execute was coming through. He drops the smoke and creates the space to stay alive, and Entropiq have to deal with that. It just slows everything.
Well, still over a minute left. Taking a fair bit of damage. Getting grenaded down out here. Sip. Awkward. So 3 versus 5. And even at this scoreline, you have to really remember, Astralis are not out of this game yet. It is, you have to, especially if you're Entropiq, you have to really think deep about this, because if you let them back in, if they get up to 3, if you lose the economy, which they almost have, then they could be right back in the game in a couple of minutes. So don't give them the opportunity. Even this round, which looks like it's probably not going to go their way, another kill would make a huge difference, even if you don't win the round. "25 seconds, and they're just going to slowly run it down, try and see if they can maybe bait Astralis into anything, but they're not even really pretending right now, Astralis. They are just happy to finally get another round. Will be a 3rd on the board for them, so that's something to work with, something they can be a little bit more happy about. 3-7. Again, it is a great scoreline for Entropiq, but the half is not done yet. We've seen this before where you have a pretty good start, and suddenly you still end up at like a 7, you know, maybe 9-6, but otherwise 8-7 type scoreline, and it doesn't feel nearly as cool as when you were up 7-1, right? 7-1, 7-3 now, and leading into the 11th round.
Feeling comfortable, they start getting a bit more
Yeah.
in the game, that's going to be a problem for Entropiq. I'm glad that they play it safe and they hold some guns. Now they can be a threat in this round, and hopefully this Astralis train just start getting station. Astralis, I mean, on the CT side, it does too. You get 6 or 7 rounds again, you're going to be cooking with gas.
Well,
probably that would help.
This is a critical point in the game, in my opinion. This is a point where if at this point Entropiq lose this round, Astralis probably go from 3 to 5 rounds just based on the T-side economy here. So they really need to put this one together. The flashes are really good. forZe is down to the... Oh, God. They're so deep in. They can win the round right now. 3 kills unreturned from Astralis. Glaive on his own, fighting for his life out here. And he's doing such a fantastic job. 3 kills with the M4. He had to manage every single bullet or he was going to run out. But he comes back for more to try and throw that nade. And that got him killed. And now it is on Magisk to try and follow up on the legacy of Glaive out here because he just basically got them back in the round. Can Magisk do it? They are backtracking. They have over a minute. They don't care. They're going to go back through T-spawn now.
Oh, this smoke has sold it, Anders. Magisk has got every reason to think that they're somewhere around here right now.
Yeah. Well, think about the context of the game. Every other time they've shown up on long, they've gone long. They've never come back from this position. So Magisk must also be thinking, well, they never actually turn it around. But now they do. They're going to have the bomb plant. He is going to be so far away. It could be done, but there is no surefire way to win this round. If you're Magisk, I almost feel like just pull out your knife, run there, and try and headshot the first guy you meet real quick. Because if you spend too much time thinking and waiting, it's probably not going to work out well. IEM will take him down. It is an 8th round for Entropiq. They avoid that economic death, and they are so much on top of this game right now. Astralis can still buy. That is the only silver lining here.
What's crazy is that that is almost a round that Glaive brings back single-handedly, and he is the only one in double digits on the side of Astralis right now with 12 kills, 0 assists. The guy just feels like he has to pull his team across the line right now, and well, that's what leaders do. That's what the in-game leader needs to do sometimes. He needs to get the guys fired up and fighting. And so if Glaive is going to have to be the one, I mean, hopefully that's going to be enough to get dupreeh and Magisk in this game. We can start seeing them having an impact here. So that's an 8th round on the board for Entropiq, and now Entropiq have a chance to break Astralis' economy as well, which would throw things completely out of whack for Astralis in this first half.
Yeah, they are skirting right on the edge here, Astralis. There's no doubt about it. That triple from Glaive is unbelievable because...
yeah, one after another, just...
And he's at the edge of the smoke. If they just tag him through or anything, he's probably going to be sprayed down and die. He's got the M4A1, which again, it's a powerful rifle, but it does have that bullet penalty. So if he can't just randomly and indiscriminately spray through the smoke, he actually has to be really conservative with using those bullets, and he did do a fantastic job. But I don't know, it was all for nothing at the end of it.
It's that classic Entropiq where it's just like, just keep throwing bodies at him. He's right there. Go get him. And then it's just one after another running through that smoke, giving the shot to Glaive, doing exactly what he needs them to do. And but here we get the smokes going down in mid. That could set up for the B split, but Entropiq they're looking for an A play.
And a run boost on top of it. What a wild play. Run boosted with an AK and a major and a headshot on set. Absolutely beautiful. leikkeet is such a powerful player in this game. Another headshot to bring down Glaive. Another double kill. It is every single time they hit this A-bomb site. He is ready to fight them. Absolutely stellar. He's going to get one more. A triple on leikkeet. No one can stop him. Now it's on Krad to try and take a little bit of a fight to sit here, but Magisk and leikkeet are just going to have to back on out and surrender this round. That makes it 9 for Entropiq. This guy leikkeet is absolutely out of control.
Magisk just scrapes him off the bottom of his shoe like some crud that he just found. I don't know.
Get out.
That is such a brutal take.
That run boost, by the way, that's something we typically see when people have pistols and they just want to get a bomb planted. Like, let's just throw someone with a Glock. It's going to be funny.
Yeah,
even
take
if
the bait.
Doesn't work.
Go duck hunting.
Exactly. But they did it in an actual round. Meg is going to hold on to the M4. Again, that is super important to Astralis.
And the AWP on Lucky as well. So Astralis actually have some firepower to play with here. Glaive has got enough to full buy. dupreeh as well. It's actually going to be a fairly decent buy coming up here for Astralis. So it's not quite the disaster. But Entropiq have got 9 rounds on the T side of Dust 2 right now. They are cooking with gas, Anders. They are looking so good. And Lackey, again, with these individual plays that are making so much of a difference. Because it's not like everybody's firing on all cylinders on Entropiq either. I mean, Nickelback kind of lagging behind right now, trying to set his teammates up, but not really getting the kills. It really feels like some individual plays that are making the difference for both of these teams in this first half. Lackey for Entropiq's really standing out, and Glaive on the side of Astralis. So we're just gonna see what these guys are capable of.
What they're proving a little bit too on the side of Entropiq is the fact that that A bomb side is just it's a sore leg, right? They've been kicking and kicking at that leg all the way through. It's starting to get really painful, and it doesn't matter if they go long or catwalk, they're still making it work. So that whole A side defense is probably not feeling that great right now. It's frustrating when you kind of know it's coming round after round and you can't stop it.
That is a very cool smoke that Astralis just threw through the mid doors to make it look like somebody was going to push lower dark. That forced some utility out of Entropiq that they probably would not have wanted to use. True. But they had to commit a flash down to lower dark to actually clear this, because this smoke that just cleared, that is a big warning signal for Entropiq. They have to worry that Astralis are playing aggressive this round.
And they've been slowed down coming out long as well. They haven't really gone for it. They tried once, Entropiq, remember, to go for B instead, where Magus was hiding in the corner and they ended up losing.
Yep.
So I think that was one of the attempts from Entropiq to try and sort of change the otherwise very A-centric first half that we've been seeing here. They could do it again, right? If you catch them off guard, it's not, we can tell Astralis on the minimap are not actually leaning that heavily A right now. Pretty standard setup, but if you catch them in the right round, maybe you could.
I wonder if they go for the same setup now. Smoke CT, smoke B slope, and just power up catwalk, or are they going to try and slow play it? They have so many grenades to use. It's kind of shocking to see them try and run it dry.
They're going to set up the initial smokes. They've actually smoked down on ramp as well. They've got a huge wall to run behind. And let's see, Lucky, last time they didn't flash him out quite enough. Maybe they could do it here, creeping through, and Lucky's going to be going down this time. No double kill for him.
The flash goes off a split second after that shot. That is crazy timing. But Entropiq have still managed to crab walk their way up onto the bomb site. They'll get a bomb plant here, and now the onus is on Astralis to retake.
Yes, it is. Not that many, actually, no nades really left on the side of Entropiq. So holding catwalk could be pretty tricky, although Nickelback with a good kill. Krad coming in from long, not even waiting for the timing, and takes a kill out long, dropping Glaive as well. He's controlling it. Oh, and the spray at range to bring down Magisk. dupreeh all on his own, just like that, from a 4-on-4 into a 1 versus 3. It was looking so good otherwise for Astralis, but it'll be a 10th round on the board for Entropiq. Ilian taking the last kill. They're playing a phenomenal game right now.
Krad, okay.
I was just going to say, in spite of losing that early fight to Lucky.
Well, I was just going to say, Krad the Chad. He played that
truly
perfectly at long. The off timing as well, always making him think like, okay, now you have a chance to peek A site. Nope. Because he goes, re-peeks again as Magisk is thinking, okay, he's not going to peek, he's going to play passive at long. No. Krad pulling a fast one on him, catches him looking the wrong way. That is impeccable stuff. And here's the aggression from Astralis now into mid, but they were watching it in Entropiq. They are aware that this is coming.
Yep. It's a play that we see more now after the change to Dust 2. People try and do it. I don't think it has the same surprise factor that it used to, but saying that, they're kind of looking for it. But Krad is still running. He's not aware at all that they're... Oh, he's still alive. Oh, no, that is a disaster. Krad now going to be slowly walking back and actually spotting for Sip and taking him down. This has really backfired on Astralis. And now the question is, could they even help out dupreeh? Let's see. He's going to get at least that kill in return, but they're out long at the same time. They've given up on this part, and they're going to go fight Lucky instead.
And they realize now that they're, I mean, if with an extra player up top like that, and Lucky gives it away, going to lose that fight through the smoke with the FAMAS. Bold trying to make a play, but that's just not going to happen. And now Entropiq can get the bomb planted. There isn't much that Astralis can do to stop this.
A little bit of a jump, I was going to say, otherwise they could have tried to boost. The jump is doing a bit of damage. They don't need a bit, they need to win this round badly on the side of Astralis. 10-3. Glaive still hanging around with the UMP. 14th round, so I mean, you could justify saving maybe if you're on the Astralis side. You kind of know that you're going to need this money in the next round, although they are going for it now. They're going to find Ilian as well, leaving leikkeet on his own, and the jump coming in. Glaive with the shot on leikkeet at the end with the UMP, so still pretty impressive stuff here, and a pretty good retake coming through from the side of Astralis. I thought they were going to run out of time, and it was pretty close.
I thought so too. You were right to point out the lack of utility there to help with that retake either as well. That's so tough on Astralis, but they managed to fight their way through. Entropiq, when you get stuck on that defensive back foot and the momentum is shifting against you, it's Astralis who are just pushing aggressively. It can be really tough to hold, and I think that's what happened with Entropiq there. Just trying to hold off the flood wasn't going to be happening. They have a pretty good long spawn now though, so they could once again just go crashing out long. What is the money like? Little. Indeed. Big changes as well made, and we saw Astralis finally take advantage of it. Throw some chaos into these rounds. Try and avoid being too predictable here. You know, it's better late than never. Every round matters in a game of Counter-Strike, and so if Astralis can manage to pick up the remaining 2 rounds in this half, that's going to be big. This is going to be the last round of this first half, and so they won the last one with some aggression up mid, trying to get that chaos going, trying to make it a little bit more difficult for Entropiq to predict what was coming. But we need to see something more here from Astralis on this final round. At least they get the full buy. They'll have everything they need going into this round. So no excuses on the firepower side.
It's kind of impressive because leikkeet's been having a great game at 16 kills, but Glaive is actually at 15. He's 1 behind, and I mean that's kind of hard to match. I would say that kind of an output in one half.
I know Glaive, you know, he's been touted as a fragging in-game leader in the past, but it's not his job. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I put a lot of emphasis on the beginning at the beginning of this match. Thorin as well on the desk has put a lot of emphasis on this. You know that we need to look to dupreeh and Magisk,
but
to smash. And if Glaive is the one top fragging, that is a losing situation for Astralis. I think you really need to have dupreeh and Magisk at the front doing a lot of the heavy lifting here for the team. But of course, it is always tough, and it is worth considering that this is still CT side, and those are the 2 B anchors. So if they're always going into retakes on A,
yeah,
that's a hard life as a CT side. So I will cut them a little bit of slack there. If they're not getting hits on B, then they're not going to get too many chances to kill. So maybe T side, you know, they're going to lead and just smash everything in front of them. And really, that's what Astralis are hoping is going to happen, because so far, Entropiq have done a good job of dodging dupreeh and Magisk and not really letting them get in.
Yeah, that is actually, it's interesting, and it's a story we've seen before. We've been here where you're just not doing anything on that B-bomb side. It happens on multiple maps. This still was very, very A-heavy for Entropiq in the first half, so it's kind of impressive. But then again, like we pointed out, once it's working, once they found out, we can actually just go long. And even if they know we're coming, even if they have time to set up a defense, we're still winning. So maybe it's not such a bad idea. Just keep hitting that soft spot until... I mean, Astralis, to their credit, I don't think there weren't many rounds where they heavily over-rotated, and even some of the ones where they did, actually, where they were like 3 long, they still didn't win that fight. So it's... but otherwise, that's an easy mistake to make if you're on the CT side, is you suddenly say, all right, listen, we're just going to have to put 1B, 4A, and forget about the middle because we're just getting beat up. Well, again, you saw Entropiq throughout that one round where they did go B instead, and if that coincides where that's where you've leaned A, there's nothing worse as an in-game leader. If you're on the defense and you've asked all your troops to come help you out on that A-bomb side and they don't even show up, that just feels like losing.
I mean, you know, you wouldn't even be in that round if it weren't for Glaive. True. Right? You know, if he doesn't pull a triple out of nowhere, like a rabbit out of a hat, I mean, Astralis are just, it would be a completely just horrible scoreline that we've got going on right now, because Entropiq's money would have been stronger, and then who knows what happens in the following rounds, right? But, I mean, it's still a pretty disastrous first half here for Astralis. If they end this on 4 rounds, it's going to be so difficult for them to fight back in the second half. Granted, they'll be on the T side, so they'll get to set the pace, they'll get to make it happen. But, you know, Entropiq will have a huge lead. So, just a reminder, everybody, in case you're wondering, this is, in fact, LAN. Not quite to the standard of what we well, let's say we're not in front of a crowd yet. We're not in the arena, but these guys are on location in Stockholm playing in the hotel. So they are on land together in that sense. But obviously they're fighting to play in front of the audience. And the arena is going to be sick in Stockholm.
Oh, it definitely will be. Yeah, we're getting there. We're building our way into it. 10-4 is the first half here.
Good.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
It really has, in a weird way, it's felt like life has just been on standby for a really long time. I sometimes catch myself thinking, like, why does it feel like everything is obviously this whole COVID situation has made everything feel different, but even when it's not that, I've noticed it in my life. It's not quite the same. I've really missed this, so I'm glad that we could be back doing this once again at this kind of a level. They're all moving around, so I don't know if that means they're about good to go. Hopefully soon. Money in terms of that for Entropiq, certainly looking like they could put something together here. They're not going to be defenseless in this upcoming round, so that's good to see. Oh, we are lacking one of the players from Entropiq, so yeah, 4 on 5. So we don't want to play like that.
One of them dropped, so that's what we're waiting on to get them back in. And, well, that's why it's like, okay, considering you're all in that, I mean, we do have admins on staff over there in Stockholm, so obviously they can stay on top of it and hope to be able to help to fix the problems quickly. But the fact that that is one of the things, actually, I wonder, it's like a logistics thing, because if the teams are playing from rooms, individual rooms, it means the admin has to hustle over to whichever room the team is in. If it's a PC issue or something like that, you know, so maybe they have to, he's just sitting there waiting for the hotel, the elevator, you know.
So hopefully not. Hopefully they're all at the same floor or something. Poor guy. Or they have hired more than one. It's possible, right?
That's also possible.
Just a whole team of,
you know, just don't take the elevator. Go up the stairs. Get that exercise.
Yeah, use it as an opportunity. It's good. So
get the hustle.
Unless it's like a 10-floor difference in that case, maybe not. I've got to say, again, we sort of outlined it in the beginning, the pressure difference of being the heavy favorites in Astralis versus being just the young up-and-comers of Entropiq, even if some of them have some experience, obviously. It is still pretty impressive when you get to see it like this, right? They're just cruising through some of these rounds here, and Astralis really look like they're under a fair bit of pressure early on. So that's so interesting.
This is the dangerous situation that Astralis find themselves in, and it's the one that all Tier 2 teams find themselves in, which is you're in the online melee now, essentially. So you're in that Tier 2 melee where it's chaotic, anything goes. You have insane fraggers who can just take rounds out of nowhere and just take over maps the way leikkeet has taken over this first half. I mean, this is something that's very possible, but that Astralis, you know, for a long period of time, they didn't really have to deal with.
Yeah.
Now these teams have been kind of playing in online, and so you have they've been rubbing shoulders with these online teams that they wouldn't have before when it was only land that they were competing on. But Astralis are a team that are used to being in the top 8 and being like, okay, we're gonna wait for the other 8 teams to join us who are more experienced and who play our kind of style of CS, and so we don't even need to worry about that other kind of CS that Entropiq might be playing, right? Astralis right now are running head first into Entropiq and into a style where perhaps they're still trying to make adjustments.
It's also a world in which at previous majors, right, like Astralis are already at the legend stage.
Yeah,
right?
They're just like, they're chilling. They're with the other 8 just waiting in the wings.
When you get there, very likely, you're going to be playing with against a bunch of people, that you know their style, right? You know what it's like playing against Simple and zywoo. And even though they might be really good players, at least it's a pattern that's kind of familiar to you. You have an idea about how they're reacting to certain situations. It might not be the case with Entropiq. Astralis obviously they've watched demos. Obviously they've tried to prepare. It's not like they're just going to walk in here blind today. But still, it's tricky, right? To try and remember, they couldn't know necessarily that they end up fighting Entropiq in this game, right? That's not something they can necessarily prepare for. So even if you watched a couple of their games, you have to now try and remember, how exactly does leikkeet play that long position? How is he normally doing it? Is he going to be aggressive? Does he just go for it? Like, you don't know that in your bones the way that you would against some of the teams that Astralis maybe more regularly would have played a couple of years ago. It would have been different, right? So there's some stuff here that's really working against them.
Yeah, Astralis are just, I think that they really lost the first round draw, taking Copenhagen Flames first round. I think that was the worst case scenario for Astralis.
Could have very well been,
out of all the first round picks, they get Copenhagen Flames. I think that was the worst one for them. And now they're up against Entropiq, who, they come from the CIS region. That's no joke. Those guys grind and those guys hit hard. And second round, you've already taken one shot today. Maybe you're a little dazed. You haven't quite got your feet under you, and now you're just getting pummeled by leikkeet and the rest of Entropiq. I mean, the beatdown right now that Astralis are taking.
Now, obviously, they wouldn't just go straight out, right? Like they'd have a chance to play a best of 3 to try and keep going.
True.
Which I think is format-wise is a really good pick. That's a nice way to do it because then you can't really complain, right? You have to, well, you know, you got all the chances to try and get this done.
I think best of ones also are way more forgiving now than they were before. When everybody was really complaining about best of ones before, that was at a time when the economy was way less forgiving and the maps were way more one-sided. So you can have just blowout halves where it's just like you lose 2 rounds and your whole half is over essentially, and a best of one could be really cutthroat.
That's actually a good point.
Today, now with all the safety nets the devs have put in, the maps are way more even, way more equal. The economy's way more forgiving, and so I just want to hear less whining about best of one because I don't think it's nearly as cutthroat as it was once upon a time. And then you get your safety net with the best of 3. You know, like you said, you still get your best of 3, but I think that having the 2 rounds of best of 1, I'm fine with. That works.
I still happily would tag on another like 4 or 5 days or whatever it would be to add like a double elimination type of thing because that just would be cool. I think just for the story, I don't want every tournament necessarily to be double elim, but I think for the major, why not?
Yeah,
it's fun.
It would be nice. It would be nice. But we still get 12 days of Elite CS, and 4 of those days are going to be
right now.
That
Audience. Feels like so much. That's amazing.
It's going to be so good. But it looks like we've got all 5 back for Entropiq. So,
all right,
are we ready to go?
Shoot that starting pistol and let's get the show back on the road. It's the 15th round. A little bit of a, I mean, it's hard to know whether or not, sometimes sort of an inadvertent technical timeout like this one could be more beneficial for one team or another. I feel like maybe for Astralis, if it wasn't this long, it maybe would have been, but now they're actually just getting to stew in it, right? And Entropiq, yeah, I mean, they weren't just rushing down anyway. They were playing pretty measured, I would say. They weren't just rushing long and rushing the A-bomb site. They took time to think, so I don't think they're going to be losing a lot of momentum in having a little bit of a break here. But Astralis are going to, you know, have time to sort of think, man, we're really not winning this game right now, at least. And that could be a little bit tough to sort of sit in, right? If this is like 9-6 right now, or I guess 8-6 or something, it's kind of a little bit more even. But I feel like Astralis must be probably a little bit more stressed at the moment. Hopefully, again, this is where you want the experience coming through. This is where you want them to be not stressed at all. Although I think that's hard. That's easier said than done.
In 2 maps, they've only won 10 rounds. Their first match of the day against Copenhagen Flames on Overpass, they lost 16-6. So Copenhagen Flames already blew them up once. Now you have Entropiq, who are 10-4, could finish this 11-4 if Astralis can't come up with some magic in this last round. Imagine a world where Astralis are just getting utterly demolished in 2 maps. Just this is that would be a devastating start to the tournament. I mean, you can still look forward to the best of 3s. You can still have that scenario where Astralis, you know, it's not going to just be one more best of 1 that's separating them from the void. But it's still a world in which the defending champs could get knocked out.
That would be, I'm guessing someone has that in their pick'ems. Not me.
That would be a crazy pick. That would be pretty sick.
Someone's got to, right? There's got to be someone out there who's seen it coming. So shout out to those people, I suppose. Very hard. I feel like this is something that's happened every single major for me. When I look at the bracket and the opening games, I just think it's so obvious who's going to win. Like, I'm not even in doubt. I'm like, of course I know who's going to win these opening games. Like, no problem.
Okay.
And every single time I'm like, damn, I'm way off. There's always something crazy happening at the major. I don't know why it is, but it's just I should just start counter-picking, or just every other game I just random it, because it feels like I'm always wrong on like half of these picks, especially in the beginning. I feel like it's so rough. So
how are your predictions going? I can't remember. So far I'm good. I've got everyone except for the Astralis upset, and I'm kicking myself on that one.
I think I've got everyone except for the Astralis. I want to say that's true, but maybe I'm just making that up now. That we can't check it, but I feel like right. Maybe I submitted crazy picks. Who knows?
Check the desk later, guys. When we see the predictions, you'll see what Anders picked.
Yeah, just madness. I mean, this is.
But we're still waiting. We don't know, guys, what's going on. So in case you're wondering, we're wondering too. We're in the dark with you guys.
Microphone problems, apparently.
Okay. Seems like a mic problem. So
that is important, though.
How does that happen?
Someone, I don't know.
Also, I mean, if you have a coach
it's counting down.
It's counting down. Oh, hey, we're good, Anders. Let's go.
We just had to complain a little bit more, and it sorted itself out.
Guys, worth mentioning as well, no breaks in halftime. We're rolling straight into the second halftime, so there's no ad break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get right into the second half. You won't want to miss it.
ENCE takes a shot. He's back for more. He's got the angle. That easily could have been a kill there. Magisk kind of ADing a little bit there while spraying the gun. And it works out. He's going to get the kill on forZe. Not bad. Crad not quite brave enough to move forward in that position. Lucky goes down to Lucky. And it's a 3-on-5. Great start for Astralis. This is what they needed like 5 rounds ago. They needed this kind of a beginning. And I don't know why they're hanging around in the middle still. They got the 3-on-5 they need. And Magisk goes down.
Astralis deciding to play the meta in the last 2 rounds of the half, which is, you know, charge mid and put pressure mid, make it chaotic. You can get out quick now onto the CT side, and it can get out of hand. And so now, well, we do have ELEAN still hanging around in top mid. Bomb is still in control as well. Nickelback going to be holding on to that. And this, you can see just how much time this is burnt off the clock. Entropiq are only down to a minute, and they haven't really taken any control anywhere.
It's going to be hard to get out here. Throwing that flashbang will alert Glaive on the other side. Not that he's got any backup, really. And actually, they're going to be falling back. Surely that's just being heard. I feel like this play is being telegraphed from all the way across the map, and Astralis surely know what is going to be coming, and especially they'll know dupreeh just has a Molotov in his hand. Going to be ready for it. That'll segment them off, and he gets the headshot on Crad as well. So this round is definitely done, and Astralis will be able to find a way to get 5 on the board here. ELEAN on his own, and dupreeh's already pushed up. That's a pretty good little double kill for him, and it will be 10-5 overall at the end of the half in favor of Entropiq, which again is really impressive. And like you said, we're not going to be having much of a break here. We're just going to go straight into the second half, which I kind of like. Let's keep the pace up and just keep going.
Exactly. And now I really want to keep an eye here on Astralis. Now that they decided to play aggressively in the last 2 rounds of the half, they started to play a bit more towards the meta of what we expect to see on Dust 2 for the CT side. A bit more of aggression in mid, pushing upper dark, really taking the fight to Entropiq. That's really cool. And now we get to see Astralis on the T side where they get to call the strats. Obviously, Dust 2 is still one of those maps where we kind of look at spawn and where you spawn on the T side. If you get a good long spawn or a good upper dark spawn, you know, it can determine what kind of strat you want to run. So keep an eye on where the players are spawning in that rectangle. But I mean, now we get to see if dupreeh and Magisk are just going to be here to rip heads off. This is going to be sick.
They need it badly. Astralis second half, it has to be really good from the start, or they're not going to get, well, they're going to be 2-0-2 in the group, and that's not what you want. ELEAN, Crad playing here behind the smoke. They're not checking it. They're not suspicious. Oh, he walks out. It could be beautiful, and it will be. Crad with a triple, taking down Lucky, Magisk, and Sip. They just were not suspicious. They did not suspect that anything bad was happening inside of that smoke, and oh boy, were they wrong. Glaive now, 1 versus 5 out here. And the setup, the fact that Nickelback got that 1 kill, that is suddenly all of their attention. Their mind is just somewhere else. And Glaive, well, he's being held. A dualies and a USP on one side. He's going to be straight dead out here. Execution 11-5 in favor of Entropiq.
Outrageous, Anders, outrageous. And I think you get that. You just hit the nail on the head. The man playing mid, just taking pot shots at Cat, is just making Astralis think, oh, everything is normal. Nobody's here. We're going to be able to aggro a Cat real quick and get onto that A-bomb side. Little did they know, Crad had pushed through the mid doors, and again, that's the thing that you can do on the CT side. You can push through those doors real quick now, and nobody was there to watch for Astralis. Now they'll have a player in Suicide Astralis, so they've made that adjustment to keep an eye on things. But in that pistol round, that was not the case, and Entropiq took perfect advantage of it. So now Astralis, well, just it's a disastrous start to the second half here. Losing the pistol is so painful, but they do go for the hard eco this round, so that's cool to see. It means that we'll get rifles in the next round.
I mean, it's absurd as it sounds. I think it's the 3rd or the 4th time that I brought up this point, but they have to keep believing that they just are the better team, and that once things get rolling, they're going to be able to win no matter what the difference is, really. So I understand why they're doing this, even if it seems like they're running out of runway for this plane to actually take off. They're going to have to keep trusting in it. 12-5, the scoreline, and like you said, straight into the AKs here.
Indeed, Anders, you're right. And yeah, that's the one thing where instead of going for the Deagle Kevlar, they go for the hard eco. So we will get that. They don't even get close to planting a bomb, but they will have enough for the AKs and some nades. And Scoot picked up on Lucky, so we will get that shot, and there it is.
All right.
Wallbang drops forZe in mid.
That is a good start to the round. Crad is going to be slowing them down a little bit with that Molotov. They don't want to push behind it. And they're in a similar position. They're all out long. It looks like Entropiq, no. Oh, wow. That is a clean headshot if I've ever seen one. Magisk taking down Crad. I was going to say otherwise. kind of a reversal of roles here, where the CT side knows what is coming for sure. They definitely know, but they might still lose the round, even if they have all the intel, which normally is like half the battle in Counter-Strike. It's just figuring out where's the actual attack going to happen. Well, this round, there's no mystery, but it still could be very hard to hold the A-bomb side, just like we saw in the first half, really. leikkeet, though, doing a good job. nykytilan is there. Oh, Astralis, they should not be losing control of this round, but somehow they are. Lucky, this is just a scout. That's not going to be a kill. And just like that, it's a 1 versus 2. I really cannot believe it. They had this round locked down. 3 versus 5. They had that A-bomb side. They were just there. And they somehow walk their way onto the site and get killed. Magus walking into the scout. He's real low on health, and he's going to be down. He couldn't find the head of Ilian, and that's a 13th round for Entropiq. Unbelievable scenes here.
I cannot believe it, Anders. I cannot believe what we just saw. Astralis getting picked off one after another, slow walking up onto that bomb site. Entropiq, that's outrageous that they actually managed to pull that off. I cannot believe that they actually managed to do it. And so clean as well. You're thinking with 2 entries, that's it. Astralis, they're in the bin. And yet Entropiq, they wasted no time. They went for the gamble and rotated hard over. There's Xyp9x again giving them the man advantage, again taking out forZe. Yeah, but forZe can't catch a break in these rounds. He's just sat 2 rounds now because of this spot in mid.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's also, you're starting to feel like, yeah, but does it make a difference? If they can't win the rounds, because that kind of an opening normally will give you a little bit more to work with. And they just threw away a round where they had this exact same setup.
You're right, you're right.
So, that's pretty close. But IEM will take him down with a much more powerful rifle. So back into a 4-on-4. And the rest of them, they have pistols. They could try and do something. They're getting outsniped by IEM, who's had a pretty respectable game himself. A little bit of a missed opportunity there, perhaps. But he's got some backup in here. So even if they try and flash him down, yep, the M4 is in front. Always a good setup to try and do that. And it's a 2-on-4.
Has he not missed a shot yet? That's sick. What a good feel. He's just tagging everybody, and that's what it feels like when you get to just stand your ground in mid, just taking shot after shot. Astralis challenging one after the other as well. And Astralis right now are looking a little disjointed. Spacing not quite right, not quite taking advantage of utility either. And so I'm wondering right now what the comms are like on Astralis, if they're clean or if they're quieting down. Because this is just looking like another beating, Anders. 14-5 for Entropiq now, who are in full control. Entropiq get to go for the full buy, have everything that they need. And while after that round of eco, Astralis are going to get a full as well. Lucky's going to finally get his hands on an AWP. Yeah, that was the spot.
It's becoming increasingly difficult to spin this into something positive, isn't it, Samla? How do you sell this?
It's tough. I mean, it's still
the roller
possible.
coaster is more fun on the way down.
Yeah, I guess for Astralis, right? They just want the best of 3s.
Whee!
They only want best of 3s. You know, they're like, screw these best of 1s. We'll get these best of 1s done as fast as possible, and we'll just get into best of 3 territory, right?
They're gonna have to come up with something, because that's where they're headed right now. 14-5. They got some rifles back in the hands on Astralis here, but we're talking about, realistically, something like 11 rounds in a row to try and get back. If they mess up at any point during that, it's probably going to be done. So, certainly make for a very cool story, but the likelihood of that happening is almost 0. Set up on the catwalk. They've got one out long. That's Sip hanging out there. They've got Megaskin upper dark, holding an eye on that. It's a pretty standard setup, which can kind of spiral into anything, really, for Astralis, right? It's so early on. Could still be a fake on catwalk and go back to B-splitting if you want it to, out middle. But we'll see. Sip is starting to fall a little bit further back. Going to come join them, it seems like. I still wonder if this isn't going to be a B-split.
It feels like it, because you still have Magus lurking around in Upper Dark right now, looking for that info push from Entropiq. So if anybody were to push for info, but Entropiq, they've fully committed to this hold now. With 38 seconds, they're saying 2 on B, 3 on A. We are not moving. We're not going anywhere. We just wait and see where they hit, and we have to hit our shots when the time comes.
Speaking of time, 27 seconds. Lucky with the kill on forZe. A good flashbang, but Lucky, he could not pick up more than them. They were really blind, I think, in that middle. But they find a way to thread the needle here. Astralis even getting the shot for the smoke on dupreeh there. That's not bad. Taking down nykytilan, and that'll give them the round for sure. Even with 12 seconds at the end, they had time to put the bomb down. And yeah, that was a bit of a classic setup, really.
Yep.
And I mean, we saw them throw the smokes in the middle. What you didn't see is the smokes that land on the catwalk to try and sell that A side of the fake. And I mean, they did a good job. There's no doubt.
Well, having the lurk smoke on Catwalk is what's going to keep Entropiq just focused on A, or at least stuck there, because they can't rightfully rotate while that smoke is up, because that's the whole point of a lurk smoke. You don't know if somebody's sitting behind it who's there to wreck you. And so Entropiq are stuck, but Entropiq really did just commit to the idea that wherever Astralis show themselves, we're going to just hit our shots. And they set it up with that flash through the smoke in CT, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, everybody is there from Astralis because they are going for the death ball approach, where it's just no matter where you peek from, 3 rifles are going to be facing your way. So you're not going to kill all of us. We will eventually whittle you down and get onto a bomb site.
And we'll think about this. That setup that they just ran is so variable that Astralis can do this, 3 or 4 or 5 more times with different outputs, right?
Yeah.
They could do that strategy where they drop down in the CT spawn. They could do it where they legitimately execute on the A bomb site. They can do it where they go out in middle and then wait for the CTs to try and retake middle and see if they do it early around. There are so many variations of the same smokes and flashbangs that just have a different outcome. So if they get Catwalk over again here from Entropiq, if they can win that fight, they can kind of keep messing with them for a long time to try and build something behind it. Lackey, though, he's pushed into lower dark with an AWP. That is a wild play.
I'm pretty sure Dupree was close enough to hear the footstep. That's why Dupree's playing it this way.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was an audio cue that told him somebody pushed lower dark.
But he doesn't have anyone in middle. They can set up that smoke on the Xbox. That's okay, but is it actually going to make a difference? Nice Molotov to force back Ilian as well. And now Lackey's going to be feeling really, really lonesome. And Dupree, he's run out of patience, maybe a bit too soon. A missed opportunity. Lackey, but he's still not falling back. He is so brave. He's just not giving up on it. Flashed as well, but so is Dupree on the other side. They're going to try and go for him, and they'll finally win that fight. That looked like it could have gone either way.
Mad lad, Lackey. Mad lad. And now Dupree is just chilling out here at mid. He's going to cut this map in half and give Astralis all of the options with 50 seconds on the clock now. Astralis looking like they're going to hit that B site. Dupree is already in position to catch the rotate, and the rest of the team can gather up and just smash onto that B bomb site. So it is all going to be riding on forZe and Nickelback now. Those guys, they have no option but to fight their way out of this situation.
And they have no grenades, so it is just going to be the raw fight. Only holding middle is Dupree. The rest of them will be coming in a little bit one at a time, a little bit slowed down, in fact. They don't have time for this at all. Ilian and Nickelback doing it. 19 seconds, a big triple coming out from Nickelback. Doubled so far, actually. One of them there, I think, stolen by forZe. And Lucky, he can't do anything. This was such a weak attempt from Astralis in a lot of ways. They had the setup for it. They had the 4 versus 2 basically in the bomb site, and they just couldn't actually get through even the first player.
They had the grenades too, Anders.
Yeah, you're right.
They had everything. Oh, he survives. Saved by the bell.
That's very uncharacteristic. They had set this entire round, and remember, this couldn't turn into a fake. There was not enough time to do anything but this. They had one guy holding middle, the other 4. They need to hammer their way through to that B bomb site. It's fine to get some spacing, right? We talk about that a lot. It's fine to have one guy go in and then a little bit of a delay, but that's not what we were seeing here. This just seemed like it was a very, very weak attempt to get into the bomb site. That makes it 15-6. Entropiq 1 round away from putting Astralis down in the O2 bracket, and that is wild.
It's out there. I mean, right now, Astralis, it just felt like the spacing was completely off. Glaive was just ahead of everybody else, and that just allowed for Entropiq to get the feel for what Astralis were throwing at them. Now I'm seeing Glaive doing a lot of talking. Now we're going to see some buying from him, so that's good. Lucky, yep, we'll get that smoke grenade. He had enough money for it, and the nade count is pretty good here for Astralis, all things considered. But Entropiq, do they go? They were thinking about it, and sure enough, but there's the trade. Alien takes Glaive. That had to happen. You had to have the 1-for-1 in mid.
Yeah, still fighting. Think about this mid fight is something that we just did not see before the change almost ever. Crad goes down.
Wow.
I think probably attempting to use the confusion in middle to try and see if he could gain some more map control out there, but that definitely backfired. So 4-on-3 in favor of Astralis, which they've thrown away better opportunities than this so far in the game. So let's just see if they can negotiate this particular round.
Best chance they've had so far, though, to... Well, I mean, now they can actually get around more than 16-6. So that's already good. Of course, Astralis now are looking to play the perfect half to tie this up and force overtime. But they went their first match of the major. They lost to Copenhagen Flames 16-6.
True.
So now Entropiq down a man. Still a couple of nades to play with, though. and they have just full gambled. They're going all in on the A side Entropiq. They're hoping that Astralis is going to hit here.
Look at what Astralis are doing, though. They are so sure that Entropiq will make a mistake and come look for them. And that's fine to use some time on, but they used over 20 seconds to wait around like this. And that's starting to feel not so much like you're giving an opportunity for your opponent to make a mistake. It's starting to feel like you're just not really making any assertive calls right now. And Entropiq have not given them any mistakes so far. niko is right at the edge. He hears the footsteps. He's going to spray down one. And on the other side, dupreeh is on his own, trying to hold on to it. Magisk finally shown up to help out, but this is not a good look. 15 seconds on the clock, and they're going to have to try and see if they can get through iLLeY. But that's just not easy. He's already taken one kill. Magisk out in the open, and he is gone. 16-6 will be another stopping block here for Astralis as they fall to Entropiq.
Wow, and this is Astralis that we're talking about. They've made the changes with the roster as well to get glaive back in the mix, and it is not working for them in the first 2 matches for the major. They have been struck down.
That is crazy. I really did not see this coming. I think I had Astralis going 3-0 or something. I was pretty hopeful for them. Obviously, it's not gone that way. So, what a tough game for Astralis, no doubt about it. And you saw how they tried to remain calm. They didn't force crazy buys. But at the end of it, they just didn't look like they had a lot of punch left in them at all. Even in rounds where they were ahead 4 versus 3s, or I think even 4 on 2 at one point in that A-bomb site, it wasn't enough. They just can't break through. And on the other side of things, you see how crazy they crowd in that pistol round, hiding at the smoke. Obviously, leikkeet as well. I mean, many of these A-bomb site plays are just him multi-killing Astralis.
Exactly. I mean, he just controlled the first half. Without a doubt, he was the MVP for Entropiq in that first half. Opening up the bomb sites, here's a big round from him where he was just able to control the situation, keep his cool, and he just kept running up long and eviscerating that A defense. So big props to leikkeet for that first half performance. And then you got to give it to Entropiq as a team. They kept their cool. They didn't let Astralis get their foot in the door. They didn't let them get any kind of momentum going in the second half. They just kept their cool and really did not let Astralis shake free. They just kept control of the situation and got the win, which is exactly what they needed to do. And so Entropiq now, they'll be in the 1-1 score line here.